Hello, I'm Katie.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Jed.
And welcome to Untitled, the Jackson District Library podcast where we talk about all things books, movies, games, and other media, plus some library-ish things too. Today, we'll be talking to Charles from our Eastern branch about the 5th season. But before we get started, I want to thank you for checking us out. We really want to connect with you, our community, and help you to find new material to read, watch, and play. We started out by recording first chapters, which is now one of the segments, but it evolved into what you're listening to now. We really hope you email us at podcast@myjdl.com and tell us what you think, ask us a question, or just say hey. So without further ado, let's talk about what's new and coming up at JDL in September.
Let's start off with our new materials to keep an eye out for in September.
If your summer was full of beach reads and you're waiting to settle into a good story written by prize-winning authors for fall, September may be your favorite month. Many of the novels we're suggesting today or talking about today are follow-ups by authors who have written some other powerful works, but we do have one that we're going to end on that is actually a debut, not a follow-up.
So one of the things that I was most interested in that's coming out in September is called Marple, 12 New Mysteries by Agatha Christie. This is a new collection of Miss Marple stories, which will be released on September 13th, and that date coincides with the first day of Agatha Christie Week. These are the days she's honored each year in celebration of her September 15th birthday. And what it is a collection of 12 brand new Miss Marple short stories written by 12 acclaimed authors who are all skilled in writing murder and mystery.
Nice.
So join Marple as she travels through England, solving one murder after another. Now, if you don't know a lot about Agatha Christie, you can go online and find many, many interesting things about her, but I've decided to share a couple of my favorite things about her. So, in 1926, Christie left her London home after her husband Archie asked for a divorce, and she disappeared for 10 days. Now, to this day, it's not known where she went, and her family maintains that she had an amnesiac episode.
How interesting is that, though, that she's known for her mysteries and lived one?
Yep. So, and here's another thing. If you are a romance fan, she isn't known for her romance because she is popular for murder mysteries. But between 1930 and 1956, Agatha Christie penned 6 romance novels under the pseudonym Mary Westmacott.
Oh.
So that was new to me. I didn't realize that.
Nice.
So yeah, if you want to see all of the mysterious facts about Agatha Christie, you can just Google it and you can jump down that rabbit hole, because I sure did for like an hour.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and it sounds like it's a deep rabbit hole.
Yeah, it really is.
Nice. That debut that I mentioned that we were going to end on, it's called Monsters Born and Made. So this is a young adult fantasy novel by Tom V. Berwa. So sorry if we mispronounced that. So she grew up battling the monsters that live in the Black Seas, but it couldn't prepare her to face the cunning cruelty of the ruling elite. That's the little excerpt for this book is what it sounds like. Perfect for fans of The Hunger Games and These Violent Delights, this South Asian-inspired fantasy is a gripping debut about the power of the elite, the price of glory, and one girl's chance to change it all. I'm already interested in that.
I'm going to be reading that one while I wait for Bloodmarked to come out in November.
Nice. Yeah, because that one sounds good. Mm-hmm. I haven't actually read These Violent Delights, but now that's on my list too. But I greatly enjoyed The Hunger Games. And I like the streak that it has there of the power of the elite, the price of glory, all this sort of thing, that it seems like it's going after systems of these are things that work for few and
not
work
many.
Against many. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you remind our listeners about the prequel to The Hunger Games that we were talking about it earlier, and we've mentioned on the show before.
Yes.
So
the prequel to The Hunger Games is called A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and that one I still have it, and I still haven't actually.
Okay, I put a hold on it, so turn it in.
No, I have it I own it.
Yeah,
I own it, and I haven't even read it yet, so I have no excuse. But so that one follows the young Coriolanus Snow. I don't know if it's actually when he is put into the Hunger Games or when he is mentoring someone in the Hunger Games.
I can't wait to read it.
But yeah, either way, he is the protagonist protagonist of that one. Villains and protagonists can be one and the same. You can think someone's a villain, but they're still the protagonist because you're following their story. Off the soapbox. I like the stories where we have the villain point of view as like a key part because it gives you a different angle on the stories. So like there's Jen Kalanita does it a lot where she takes classic Disney stories and twists them around. I greatly enjoy those types of stories, so I'm sure that when I finally get around to it, I'm really going to like The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, but I just haven't gotten to it yet.
I can't wait.
Some new seasons and popular TV shows that are being released on DVD in September include Cobra Kai, Outlander, Young Sheldon, and the debut of The Mayor of Kingstown. Ooh. Those will all be available on DVD at the library. But some of the exciting movies we have coming up, the first one is going to be the Elvis movie starring Tom Hanks and Austin Butler. It's kind of like a biography by Baz Luhrmann, but his style of directing and writing is a little bit more fantastical.
Okay.
So you are going to get like a semi-autobiographic story,
nice.
But you get kind of a really artistic take on that.
There's a creator that I follow on YouTube that like he's a maker. Like he makes gowns and he makes suits and like all these really great things and is like self-taught, and he was invited to the premiere of it, and so like he made this very Elvis inspired jacket for himself. So
that's awesome.
I do now know what
Elvis
what
has
we're
some pretty
about.
Amazing costuming.
Yeah,
so
I was gonna say he's got a lot
to.
of sequin stuff. He's got a lot of fringe. Like it's just over the top and magnificent. So
that does sound magnificent.
Really, the only one that I know even a little bit about is Lightyear. So that is the Buzz Lightyear movie that I know some people went into it a little bit confused, that they were expecting it basically to be another Toy Story. And so they were confused by the fact that it wasn't.
Oh yeah, it's like Toy Story, but to the side. It's not in the
I would say it's
series
Toy
itself.
Story adjacent. And basically, I think the premise of it is that this is the Buzz Lightyear from the show that the toy was made from that Andy plays with. So like in that world, there is the Buzz Lightyear series that is the show that Andy watches and that inspired the creation of the Buzz Lightyear doll that we see in Toy Story. So it's like it was too tangled of a web for some people to like follow where that thread was going. So they were expecting it to be basically another Toy Story adventure, and they were like, "That's
with
not
Tim Allen."
Yeah, and they're like, "That's not what this is."
Yeah, it kind of confused me at first. It's Chris Evans.
Yes.
Is now the voice actor.
Yep,
and it's the live action version of that Buzz Lightyear character.
Yeah.
So it's a science fiction fantasy kind of fun space movie. But I think you're right in saying that kind of disconnect threw some people off.
Yeah, that you're not following the toys adventures anymore. You're following the series adventures of the character. Yeah, it gets messy, and I understand the confusion, but there are some people that were like aggressively angry about it.
It didn't do well at box office. It looked fun, and Pixar always is great to look at least.
Yeah, if nothing else, visually very, very good. But yeah, it's on Disney Plus now, and I'm planning to check it out at some point, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
We'll get it in September here at the library, so if you're interested, check it out and let us know what you think, because I haven't heard much.
Yeah.
So upcoming in September, we have the film version of Where the Crawdads Sing. This book huge when it came out, and the movie's only helped in the resurgence.
Yeah.
The holds list for this book has been insane. We've been seeing it go in and out constantly.
Yep.
I haven't heard too much about the film, but I've heard that it was pretty decent adaptation.
Yeah, good. I was gonna say, I don't know anything about that story other than the fact that I know that the book was so popular that it was like, you have to get on the holds list or you're not going to get this book anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's still the case.
Yeah, still very much the case. And it's one of those that I've thought about it, but again, my checkouts are ridiculous and I need to work through what I have before I bring more home, I say to myself, knowing that I have 4 holds waiting for me. But yeah, it's one that I've wanted to check out, especially since I've learned like it's got more of like the kind of mystery elements to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, like Southern Gothic is the term, but it's not 100% a Southern Gothic story, but it is that kind of mystery.
Yeah, it kind of taps into it, which is not what I thought that it was.
The last film we're going to talk about is The Sound of Metal. This had come out on Amazon Prime, but they're officially releasing it as a physical release now. I highly recommend it. It stars Riz Ahmed as a drummer, a metal drummer, and who is losing his hearing. So it's like a really awesome little indie film that takes that artistic look at like what would happen if your passion is slowly disappearing from you and your ability to participate in that world.
Right. Yeah,
So,
not just because I'm losing the flame of this, but because I literally physically can't
Yeah,
do
it's
the
being
thing
taken
anymore.
from me
Yeah.
without a choice.
Neat.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a really powerful film, really well acted. Riz Ahmed is
Yeah.
a fantastic actor, and really powerful film. So if you're looking kind of like an intimate portrayal of someone going through such a terrible thing,
Yeah.
it does a really good job, and it's a little hopeful. So
Nice.
yeah.
I love that. Sadly, we aren't able to touch on every new thing that will be coming to our shelves. So be sure to keep an eye on the new shelves at your branch. But while you wait for those new releases, let's hear some JDL picks from our staff that you can get your hands on right now. So as we bump into our staff pick section for today, we're doing something a little bit different. So most of the time it's based off of emails that other staff throughout the district send in to us. Today we're actually just going to let you have a little peek into our media consumption lives. So Jed, why don't you get us started?
There have been a couple things that have excited me or I've been really into this month. Quentin Tarantino and Roger Avery, the writer of Pulp Fiction. Quentin Tarantino and Roger Avery wrote the story together, but directed by Quentin Tarantino. They've started a podcast together now called
Nice.
Video Archives. In the 80s, 90s, they worked at a video VHS rental store called the Video Archive.
That's
and
awesome.
They've just brought it back. Quentin Tarantino, when it closed down, he bought the entire collection. He has all the VHSs. They sat down, they pick 3 movies, and they talk about, the vast amount of knowledge they both share about the films and about the history, how they got made, what they thought of the films. So if you're into films at all, it's just couldn't be more enjoyable. You get the excitement of both of them just geeking out over
Yeah.
fun VHSs that they grew up loving.
I love that a lot. I love the whole premise of that podcast.
It's really charming just to hear friends geek out about things that they love.
Right.
So the other thing I'm excited to talk about is the film Prey. It went straight to Hulu. It is a sequel of sorts to the film Predator, the Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator movie
Nice.
from the 80s. It's just a fantastic movie. It does a really good job at offering different perspective. It's set in 1719. It is told through the perspective of a member of the Comanche tribe.
Oh.
And you can view the film in Comanche or you can view it in English. And it's really
Nice.
interesting seeing a sci-fi alien monster versus a Comanche tribe. And it's
Yeah.
just really well done. It's about her place in the tribe, how they would prefer her to be a gatherer, not a hunter. And she by heart knows that that is her goal in life, is to be a hunter and
Yeah.
provide for her tribe. And then in the middle of that, you are thrown a creature feature.
Yes.
And it is actually really well done. So
Yeah.
I had a great time watching that.
I love the ones that take the idea of those gender norms and just flipping them around, especially when they're done well, that it's ooh, look at how strong
And especially
that
in
is.
this cultural viewpoint
Yeah.
where you were hunter gatherer.
Yeah.
And that was it.
These are
and
your
the fact
roles.
that she's breaking that very firm line.
Yep.
Yeah. It was done really well. Awesome character development and just a fun movie.
Nice.
Hour 30 minutes, really enjoyable.
I love that. So for my staff picks, what I've been enjoying a lot lately, finally I got around to watching, it's called Spy Family. Highly enjoyable. I've been watching it on Crunchyroll, which is a subscription service, but highly worth it. It's so cute. It's a really nice juxtaposition because it's got, the premise of it is serious, right? You've got this spy. He's tasked with this really important operation to stop the East and the West from falling into war with each other. And to make it happen, he has to infiltrate this academy so that he can get close to the central person of it. So this spy has to create a fake family so that he can infiltrate this school with his child so that he can gain entrance to those events, so that he can gain entrance to this central player. So again, the stakes are high with this. It seems like it should be an intense kind of story that's going on, but it meshes it beautifully with just the mundane and silly slice of life stuff.
That sounds super interesting. I'm wondering though, tell me more about Crunchyroll. Is that only accessed through HBO Max subscriptions?
No, so you can get a Crunchyroll just on its own. I just have it through the individual source of it, but it's very worth it. It has a whole bunch to scroll through, and I've been getting a lot of recommendations that's hey, if you liked Spy Family, you'll probably like this one, or there's Attack on Titan on there, there's My Hero Academia, so a lot of big ones, but they have a lot of the classics and such too.
Right.
So there's a little bit of something on there for everyone, because it's not just the action-y ones, and it's not just the lovey-dovey ones. It's got pretty much everything on there that you could be looking for if you're looking for anime. So
my kids watch it a lot, and they vary in ages from 11 to 17. So I'm pretty familiar with Crunchyroll, but I haven't explored it that much myself.
Yeah.
So Spy Family sounds really interesting. I think I'll check it out.
And it's so cute. It's so cute. It's just really pure and really, really cute. And I highly, highly enjoyed it.
So I'm going to take a little turn to the opposite side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And like Jed, I have a podcast suggestion. So I'm a true crime fan, and I just finished a 5-part series on Jack the Ripper through my favorite podcast called Morbid. And what Morbid is 2 women talk about true crime stories in a way that really honors the victims and just respects them in the telling of their stories and kind of really gets to the bottom of some things. And I started this podcast a good 6 months ago. There are a lot of episodes. So if you like true crime, it's one that you're going to want to keep on your playlist for a while because it'll keep you busy. But I've learned so much, and the way that they speak to each other and about others and support and affirm other people has been a real eye-opening and kind of loving experience. And
Nice.
so that is my recommendation.
I love that. Again, like I said with Jed, I'm not big into podcasts, but that's, especially that you were saying like the Jack the Ripper, that fully piques my interest.
Right.
Morbid?
Yeah,
Like,
Morbid. You
okay.
should check it out.
Nice. I plan to.
And I have one more recommendation too. And this is a suggestion that I got from Erin, the branch manager at Eastern Branch. She recommended to me the book Legend Born by Tracy Deonn.
Yeah.
And it is a modern young adult fantasy set in today's world, but it's kind of a retelling or utilizes the story of King Arthur. And so it's kind of like magical realism, right? So it's in that fantasy it's a subgenre of fantasy, and I can't put it down. And in
Nice.
fact, when I go home today, I have about 20% of it left, and I will finish it tonight.
Nice. I love
and
that.
so there's supposed to be a series coming out. I don't have a lot of information on that. And there's a second book coming in the series. Apparently it's going to be a series
Nice,
in
nice.
November. So, and that one's
Lovely.
called Blood Marked, and the first one's called Legend Born by Tracy Deonn.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
My to be read list only ever gets longer. It is the fate.
That's what happens when you work in a library.
Yep, it is the fate of book people. The other one that I have to talk about is called The Messy Lives of Book People, which I started listening to the audiobook of that. It's written by Phaedra Patrick. It's very, very good. The audiobook is narrated by Katie Sobey. I hope I'm saying that name right. I might not. My apologies if I'm not. But it's really interesting because you follow the generally mundane life of Liv Green. She is a mother. She works as a cleaner, and that includes like she works for corporations to help clean, but she also just has like individual people that she goes to their house and helps clean. And one of those people is her all-time favorite author, Essie Starling. So it kind of explores the relationship she's developed with Essie. Essie has a habit of just kind of disappearing without saying anything. And so in some of those situations, like Liv's just left and she's like, I don't know when she's coming back. I don't know if she's coming back. I don't know where she went. Like, I don't know what's happening. But then, you know, Essie comes back, doesn't say anything about what happened, just goes about her writing work. And it's just like, okay, we just don't talk about it.
Wow.
But as things progress in the story, Liv is basically given the task of helping Essie finish her most recent novel. And it comes at a time where Essie is once again like not there. Not only does she have to help finish the novel, but she has to like put up the pretense of like nothing's wrong. It's just her unraveling this mystery basically of like who Essie is, what's going on, like where does she
That's
disappear
interesting.
to, like who are the important people in her life, and also untangling the messy story of the manuscript for this last book. It's really, really interesting. And you also get to see Liv get more empowered as she goes on, because she starts off quiet, contented in the background, and as things are unraveling more and more in the mystery, we see her getting more and more into herself and having those moments of, no, you know what? I know I've always said that's fine. It's not fine. And
Right.
like standing up for herself and standing up for all these other things, and just like a bit of a metamorphosis with her. And it's really,
It's
really
growth.
cool.
Right.
Yeah, it's growth, and it feels natural. It doesn't feel like a forced growth.
I think that one's going on my hold list, actually.
Yeah, it's very, very good. I've been enjoying the audiobook immensely. Katie Sobey does an amazing job with it. She does a lot of different like dialect work, and her voice is like she adjusts her timbre really well. Like all of her characters sound very distinctive, and it's just so good. But she just has this really nice English accent. And I don't even know that English accent is the right word. It's just from the British Isle area. And it's so nice. And she just like pops between the different voices effortlessly. And I'm like, dang, that's what I want to be able to do.
Right. So, I mean, as a voice actor, do you yourself listen to a lot of audiobooks to try to learn more?
So I don't actually listen to a lot of audiobooks, or rather I didn't. I have started listening to more and more audiobooks. So it was actually after our episode with Calvin, when he was talking about The Alchemist, that I found our e-audiobook version through Hoopla. And I was like, yeah, I'll give that a listen. It's just a 4-hour listen for The Alchemist. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And so I listened to it one night. I was like, dang, I really like that. And then I just started looking into more audiobooks. So I'm listening to The Messy Lives of Book People right now. We have our Reading the Rainbow book club that's going on at Carnegie. And the book that we read for last month was Felix Ever After. So I listened to the audiobook of that one. And I'm just like, yeah, more and more I'm like, I'm enjoying this. Mostly because I'd like to delve into the audiobook world as well, especially as I'm listening to more of it, that I'm like, I really like that. That's really nice to listen to. And I'd like to be able to do that. But a lot of the time, and I've been trying to put it on like in the background while I'm crafting or things like that. But I also feel like I'm irritating my family when I do that. So I just put on Disney instead.
The same thing will happen if you listen to Morbid. So if your family are not true crime fans, they may also get annoyed. So.
Yeah. Looking for some material suggestions but want something more specific to you? Head to our website at myjdl.com and select the JDL Picks option under the Explore header at the top of the page. That will take you to a form where you can fill out all the specifics you're looking for. Within a few days, one of our staff members will email you with a list of materials they've selected based on what you asked for.
You can also ask to have them place holds for you, and so it's like a surprise on your hold shelf.
This is a great way to find new things by crowdsourcing information from your local librarians. Up next, we'll be interviewing Charles about the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for joining us today, Charles. Would you like to tell us about the book that you chose?
I read The 5th Season by N.K. Jemisin. It is a Hugo Award-winning novel, one of 3 in a trilogy.
Nice.
I had seen too, not to get like too far into the author just yet, but I'd seen that this was, like you said, 3-time Hugo Award winning, but 3-time consecutive Hugo Award winning for this exact series. So all 3 books in this have won the Hugo Award, which is a first time ever for a series.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it says out of the gate speaks volumes about the quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually what drew me to it initially.
Awesome.
I like to read the Hugo Award-winning things. Yeah, I think the big 2 science fiction and fantasy awards are the Hugo and Nebula Awards, and her 3rd book actually won both of them.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Cool. So this is like a trilogy. So is there more to it, or just a trilogy?
It's just a trilogy, although the author has written other series.
Nice.
Okay, gotcha. So this trilogy that speaks volumes about all the awards it won, and it seems, since it won both Nebula and Hugo Award for its final book in the trilogy, that it follows through and it sticks the landing.
Oh yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than like getting into a series and then like the last book being like, well, that was a disappointment.
Yeah, no, it's like feels like wasted time to have like set through all of it, especially when you're investing in like world building and an entire new universe, and then for it to just amount to nothing.
They're like, yeah, that payoff that should be here. Nah.
Game
Rude.
of Thrones last season.
Yep.
So, is this your first time reading any books by N.K. Jemisin, or have you read any short stories? Because I know that they had published a decent amount of short stories before they became a published author for full novels.
No, this was the first work I read by her. I did go on to read a whole other series that she wrote and another book, and I think it was a novella. I can't remember if it was a short story or novella, but yeah, I liked her enough that I kept going after her work. Actually, she has a Twitch channel that she streams on. I was like, oh
really?
I'm gonna watch her play video games too.
Nice.
That's really neat, like more accessible. I like reading her story about how she became an author. I felt like it's not the normal path. At least it seemed like she was part of work groups, like writing groups in Boston. So it was like very ground level, trying as hard as she could to like make a name for herself. She was doing, I think she was like a counselor, if I read that correct. And she was doing that up until like 2018, 2016.
Oh, wow.
And then she got a Kickstarter money funded to help her pursue her passion of becoming an author. So it's like she was really like gained crowd support and really like fostered a community to even break into the scene. And then it was just like a huge success.
Well, I was going to say it clearly paid off because all 3 getting the Hugo Award and getting the Nebula, that it's like
crazy.
This was not a pie in the sky dream. This was
yeah, like clearly she's got a voice.
Yeah.
Because like all of her stuff is just the reviews online are like phenomenal.
So with her other books that she's written and that you've read, are they also in like the sci-fi genre? Did they kind of branch into other parts and pieces, or?
I believe it was the first series that she wrote, the Inheritance trilogy. Very, very fantasy. One that I read is kind of blends a little bit between science fiction and fantasy, especially as you go further in the trilogy. Inheritance trilogy is like about deities and like interacting with Earth and how they interact with each other. That one's way more toward the fantasy side. And then her most recent book that I read was The City We Became, and it's like urban fantasy.
Oh, nice. Okay,
in New York.
So good branches then for people that are like, I kind of like it to be a more realistic setting, or no, I want that high fantasy part. All right, nice.
I see that she has several short story collections too. So like you've got lots of avenues to jump into her work. But it seems like universally, like if you're going to get started, that this is the place you want to get started with the 5th season.
Yeah, it's very strong. I've been meaning to read How Long Till Black Future Month, but I just haven't gotten around to it. She also did a run on Green Lantern.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
Awesome. Yeah, I didn't know about that.
If you like graphic novels and you want to check her out, you can.
Nice.
I'd
have
seen
that
that
avenue.
they had co-wrote or were a writer for Mass Effect Andromeda, a novelization. So I thought that was
Nice.
pretty cool. So
I
they've
don't
like
think I knew that.
they've
Yeah.
kind of touched into franchises, but I really like
Yeah.
how they're for the most part avoiding that and really just carving out their own space in their own
Yeah.
worlds. So you got started. The first thing of hers that you read was the 5th season. Then
Yes.
So tell us a bit more about the book.
So it follows 3 different characters who are all in like different times of their life. As they go through, we see all the hardships that they kind of undergo. Each one of them is, it kind of reminds me of X-Men, but maybe a little bit more well done on the like, Marvel uses X-Men to kind of explore like persecution and like feeling like the other. She does pretty much the same thing. The 3 focal characters have magical abilities. They're called orogenes. They can like manipulate the earth and like the forces in the earth, and has like this side effect of like pulling energy from everywhere, so they can also like freeze things, which is kind of a really interesting magic system. But just like mutants in X-Men, they face a lot of persecution because like the normies,
Yeah.
muggles, are like really afraid of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, understandably so. If you can harness this intense power and like freeze the things around you by taking their energy, yeah, that's something to be wary of for sure.
There's a scene toward the start where one of the main characters gets mad and she just like kills like a whole village or like a whole bunch of people.
Yep.
And they
Again.
kind of deserved it.
Yeah.
In context, but
But it's still one of
Yeah.
those, like, makes sense why people would be afraid of you, though.
Just
Yeah.
goes to show like the extremes of like where their powers can go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Left
well-
uncontrolled.
Yeah.
yeah, and the interesting thing I think that she's done is that these people are like essential to the function of society, because that the planet they live on is extremely geographically seismically active, and so they use the like orogenes to still the seismic activity or like deflect it away
Gotcha.
from their settlements and stuff to keep them from collapsing under the seismic activity. So they're like dependent on them, but also terrified of them because of the
Yeah.
things that they can do.
Interesting. I like that a lot. I really like what it kind of sounds like this is of like taking the idea of superhuman society or having superhumans in society and like exploring infrastructure almost of it, of like what they can do, how they can be helpful, but also like the laws and things that kind of tie in with it.
Yes,
So-
there's a lot of systemic oppression of the orogenes. They're basically enslaved by the like larger society, so it's kind of a metaphor for that too.
Yeah.
Well, not even a metaphor. It's like right there.
That's point blank. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it seems like an interesting twist on like exploitation because the
Yes.
power dynamic is so different. It's not like the physically like superior or
Yeah.
like magical powered beings are the ones that are subjugating these people. It's the people
Right.
with the abilities are subjugated, which is really
Yeah.
a pretty cool twist. I
Right,
think.
because usually you'd think, this person who wields basically godlike power is clearly the one in charge.
Yeah.
So it's like when
I
it's
like how
not.
that it kind of gives it switches that like authority.
Yeah.
Which is neat.
Yeah, flips
Well,
the
I think
script
it's
on it.
Yes.
an interesting discussion of like, no matter how powerful you are, like there's a way that authority like takes that power from you.
Yeah.
So even if you could actually do something, there's something about the way the system of authority tells you that you can't, and so you kind of believe it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like in the opening of the novel, we see one of the orogenes. It's the first. It's the very first. So it's not a spoiler. It's what the whole thing's about. Just like basically breaks the world and starts a 5th season, meaning the volcanoes all start erupting and there's like clouds over the sky, which is what they call the 5th season and, title of the book.
Nice.
So he like kind of breaks those reigns of like slavery, oppression and stuff. And it's like, I've had enough.
Yeah.
And just starts an apocalypse.
Yeah, if I need to be a one-man rebellion, I'm going to do it.
I kind of love that. It starts you right off on like the peak of turmoil.
Yeah.
And then it's just how is it basically like how the society like evolves from there? Like
One character's story is it's not told chronologically.
Okay.
So it's jumping back and forth in time, which because the main focal character, the world is ending kind of thing. She's dealing with all that stuff. Her son has just died at the hands of his father. She's going through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And we watch her go through that. But then we flash back and see another character who is going through the school and how terrible the school treats the Origines. There's a character that's kind of like in between them chronologically at a different time in her life that we see all the things that she has to go through.
So
Yeah.
would that be like 3 main perspectives that you're getting?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Nice. I like the books that do that perspective play as well, when it's done well. Because
Yeah.
there are sometimes that it's attempted, but it's done in a way that's messy. That's like, all that this is doing is confusing the timeline in my brain. I'm not following where this is all supposed to be happening. But I like when it's made more clear of like, we're bouncing back to this part now, and it's this person. And like,
I would say it's not actually 100% clear. There's some purposeful like
okay.
obfuscation of like when things are happening and
Okay.
stuff, but it's intentional and it really pays off at the end.
nice. Okay. Not quite the definition that I had laid out of like nicely or cleanly done, but if it makes sense at the end of it is basically where it comes from. Because I've had some that bounce and I'm like, I
Yeah.
get to the end of it. I'm like, I think I got lost in there somewhere. Like,
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Hyperion by Dan Simmons. I don't know
Okay.
if that's the right author, actually.
Okay, yeah, we talked about Hyperion like a couple months ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause it had
I
that
think we-
freaky looking cover.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're talking about like.
Oh, sorry, with
Utah.
Charles, but yeah.
Because I was like,
it's
I
a
don't
thing.
remember
That cover though is really
I've had this book suggested to me before, but it's not a new book.
that was freaky. That book.
You read it?
No, but you told me about it, and I couldn't sleep for days.
So good to know. I'm gonna check that around like Halloween, I think.
It's not scary.
It's
I don't know where he's
utterly
coming from.
frightening.
I don't know where he's coming from. It's not a horror scary.
No,
it's
the-
actually kind of like literary sci-fi.
Okay.
Good.
Where were we?
Hyperion.
Yeah.
We were
Well,
talking
the
about like the
authors-
consequences of superhuman society.
Oh, I was
Authors,
saying
like,
the
purpose and
structure.
the
The
ideas.
structure reminds me of Hyperion. That's how we got to Hyperion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I had seen online some people were, I guess, because the perspectives that the story is told, there's a second person and a third person, first person perspective. So that you get like a
Yes.
varying perspectives. I don't think that's continuous throughout the book, but there's different people who you get that perspective from. And I'd seen some reviews say like, I just couldn't make it through that. Is that something that you think is like a big issue, or is that something that is very like a person by person, reader by reader issue?
I think it's going to be reader by reader. I actually enjoyed it. I think if I remember correctly, and it has been a little while since I read it, but one of the characters, their perspective is told in second person. So it's telling you all the things that you're doing and like really put you into the character. And then there's one in third person. I don't remember if there's one in first person. I don't think so.
Gotcha. So it's that second, third person perspective shift that
And
I think
it uses
is like
that
throwing.
to distinguish between the two focal characters.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. I had heard too that in some of the reviews, the people that did finish it through or get through certain sections or whatever, that it does come in a very satisfying culmination. So if you can go through the perspective shifts, it's worth it to stay there.
Yes,
Gotcha.
I agree.
Awesome.
I mean, I read all 3 books right in a row, so
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I was going to say, so I was going to ask about the pacing of the book. So for you, it seems like it was a pretty quick through read. Do you see anywhere in there that you're like, okay, I could see why this would maybe slow someone down? Or I guess, how did it hit you?
it's a pretty, I wouldn't call it fast or slow. It's pretty steady. There's one character that takes like a little bit of a side detour, but I really enjoyed it and the things that it explored. The author does this a lot, but one of the characters ends up in like a healthy polyamorous relationship.
Nice.
And the author really explores like atypical, it's not really the word, but like relationship configurations
Yeah.
and, you know, ones that aren't like generally accepted as
Yeah,
the
the
norm by
outside of
society.
traditional.
Yeah, non-traditional. That's the word I was
Yeah.
looking for.
Is that commonplace in this world? Like, is it a very like open world, or is it like unique to this character's journey?
It's hard to say because they're not really stigmatized for it.
Okay.
But pretty much every other relationship we see is that like male-female dynamic
Okay.
that I recall. I think there's not really judgment against, like, her focus is on, the origins and their like things that they suffer. And I think she wanted to imagine a world where like homosexuality, atypical gender expression, they're not punished by the rest of society. It's just kind of accepted as normal.
It's
Like,
kind of
there's,
neat that it creates that even more so a focal point about their race. If everything else does not matter, it boils down purely to the race of these people. It really helps that become like the narrative drive.
Yeah.
Well, it's not racial. It's like a genetic thing.
Oh,
So, like,
genetic
anybody
change.
can be
Okay,
one.
so very much like the X-Men then, like you're
yeah.
saying. Okay, awesome.
I mean,
you
the
have-
origins tend to breed out like when they mate. they produce other origins, but there's not like a distinguishing like cultural or like visual appearance to them.
Okay,
Gotcha.
awesome.
So it is just one of those if there's something else in the genetic code that then passes along.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Well, it's kind of neat because for what is the name of like the is it just regular humans that they refer to themselves as?
I think she does have a term that she uses throughout it, but I can't think of what it is.
Well, I think it's kind of neat for the world building because if your, so-called enemy can come from anywhere and look like anyone, that adds to the richness of it, I bet.
Yeah.
Well, they're usually found out in childhood.
Okay.
And then the people from the school come collect them and take them there, and
Gotcha.
they
So do
go
we
through some
spend
stuff.
do we spend any time learning about the schools and being in the schools at all?
Yeah, one of the characters' perspective is in the school.
Okay.
So we see the things that she goes through to try to become, a developed origin, and just how kind of cruel they are,
Yeah.
actually. The whole world is kind of like a crappy place to be.
So is it one of those, because you were saying as she's in the school and developing into an origin, are they still kept in the school and just moved somewhere else, or like they taken from the school, or
They go through and they learn how to control their powers, and then they get, I think the ranks are called rings,
okay,
and they wear them on their fingers to show like how advanced they are.
gotcha.
And then once they're far enough along, they send them out into the world to do like things that they need earth movers to do.
Gotcha. Okay.
So do these earth movers like hold a higher position of power in their world because of that? Okay, so
They're slaves.
truly subjugated
Yeah.
Yes.
all the time.
So the rings are
Okay.
purely, you can do these things. We need you for that job.
Yeah, this
You're
is,
coming
this
over
is how
here
good
now.
you are.
Yeah.
We need a 10 ringer to come
Wow.
do this or whatever.
Gotcha.
And you really see that because the middle-aged character, I don't know, she's not middle-aged, but she's between the other two in
Yeah.
age.
Okay.
Her plot line starts with, hey, we need you to breed with this other guy so that you can make a powerful baby.
Wow. Okay.
And then we
Gotcha,
later find out
gotcha.
that he has tons of kids that are being used by this system.
Right.
Because he makes such powerful babies.
Yeah.
Weird way to, weird
Yeah,
phrase,
but that there's just something with his genetic code that
Yeah.
makes it a more powerful.
Yep, he's very
origin.
powerful, so he produces very powerful.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Super exploitative.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of the themes that she explores would feel familiar. I mean, people have explored them before. There's nothing like groundbreakingly new, but it is very well done, and it feels really personal the way she describes everything. So I really liked the way she handled the topics and constructed her world.
Yeah.
Do you think that she's going to revisit this world, or does it feel very self-contained?
It feels finished.
That's
Nice.
great. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the characters kind of had an end to their arc, and
Nice. And like a
Yeah.
satisfying end, it sounds like.
yeah, and I love the way she slowly reveals things about the world instead of giving you like a big info dump.
Yeah.
You
Because
just find out more and more as you go through.
when you get the huge exposition dump, it's like, oh my God, I just want to get to the story.
Those are daunting. In a film,
Yeah.
it's one thing, but to set through and you have to read through all that,
Right.
it's nothing makes you put down a book quicker than
Yeah,
that
then-
done poorly.
Yeah. Then it's just like, okay, this is basically a textbook of this world.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, would I read a textbook about this? Yes.
Yes.
But I want to read the story first to get into it.
Right.
So since she's talking about like really serious themes, really serious things that happen,
Yes.
things that a lot of people can relate to, do you think that she was successful with what she was trying to get across?
Absolutely. Yes. She handles it all very well. And she does there's some very dark things that happen. I mean, there's like children and babies that die, and it's all handled like it's handled well. The characters respond
Like with
in
as
meaningful
much
ways,
tact you
and-
can in that scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I would call it tact. It's just it's well written, and so
Okay.
you kind of just accept it. It's not like crass or anything. It's accepted as part of the development these characters need to go through, and like the genesis for things that come in some of their cases. So
Yeah.
So it's not just like murder for the sake of murder. They happen because they help drive the passion, the plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Fuel the cause. Yeah.
yeah.
I guess the last thing we'll talk about, I always love to ask if you think this would make a great adaptation, whether it's a TV miniseries or as a film or a trilogy of films, maybe.
Hey, or trilogy of miniseries.
I think there's so much, like so many important things that have to happen. I wouldn't necessarily want to see it as like a movie, especially if they did like, you know, one movie per book or one movie for the trilogy.
Yeah.
There's just too much. So probably like a series I could see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It would be some pretty cool visuals from some of the things that they do. Although a lot of the magic is like they kind of narrate it internally.
As I
But
said,
I think you'd have to like adapt it a little bit for the screen, make it more actiony. But
yeah. And my follow-up with that is, with it being a series or something like that, would you see it being a live action with live actors, or would you see it as more of an animation based?
depends on the budget.
Fair? Yeah.
Yeah. If they had an enormous budget, live action would be fun.
Yeah.
I kind of default to thinking that sci-fi fantasy stuff would be better if they just animated it sometimes, if they don't have the budget for really good special effects.
Yeah. I am partial to animation, but that's just because I really like the medium and because I want to be a voice actor at some point. For animation would be great, but it's just that there's so much more liberty that you can take with the medium, because like a human body can only do so much, even when you put in like the CGI and special effects, and even if you have like the great actor doing things, there are physical limitations to what a human body can actually produce, where it's like, if you can figure out how to draw it, you're good.
Yeah, and I would say that part of that is the people on the world. Part of the reason I would like to see it as an animation, I think, the people don't map directly onto like how we look, like racially,
Physiology.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, their physiology is similar, but I mean, they don't have the same like origins of like, you know, I came from this place in the world, this place. So they all look a little bit different than like people on Earth would.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be hard to like overlay like, you know, real people casting onto the characters.
Right. So almost like it would feel odd that it's just like, but you look like a white guy, like, and I don't feel like that's what you should look
Yeah,
like.
well, there's actually not a lot of white people.
Nice.
Not what you would call white people. Everyone is kind of shades of darker skin tones.
Nice.
Well, not everyone, but there's a large representation of people who have darker skin tones.
Yeah.
So I had seen that Sony's TriStar Pictures did buy the rights to adapt the trilogy. It does not say whether it's going to be made into a trilogy of films or if it's just going to be a film. But I thought the cool thing, and the thing that sounds like it's needed and important, is that N.K. Jemisin herself is adapting them. And I feel like when you're dealing with a whole new world with such rich mythology like this one, you're going to mess up unless you bring in the author.
You need the source.
Yes, I think that's a
good news.
smart call. Yes.
Yeah.
For sure. That's a relief. Yeah, definitely.
where
She's going to make sure the important things are there. She has a lot of themes that I feel like might get censored or edited out. Like I mentioned, the polyamorous relationship, that I recall at least one transgender character, and I think it'd be important to see those transition to the screen. So
Awesome.
I didn't mean to make a pun with transition.
Gotcha. Yeah. But be fully adapted in the way that it should be.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So having her on the project makes me trust it a little more.
Same.
Right.
That
A lot more.
inspires some confidence.
Right. And
Yeah.
especially just that at the very least, when you have the person who created the original, it's very unlikely that any of the things that are important to the story they were trying to tell will get left out. I do like it when the original creators come in, so that the things that get left on the cutting room floor aren't things that they were like, no, why did you do that?
Yep. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
So, at least at the library, I see lots of readers who are hesitant to approach science fiction and fantasy. There's a stigma behind those genres that it's wieldy or it's something that they just won't find any interest in. So, do you feel like with this that this is approachable for our readers?
No.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, hey, that's valid.
I do not think this is a good sci-fi fantasy starting point. It's very, very fantasy sci-fi in the world building and the, you know, people have superpowers kind of thing. But it's also kind of on the edge, leaning toward literary sci-fi / fantasy. So if they're just getting their introduction to the genre, it hits kind of hard. It's kind of got like a lot of the genre tropes that they might already think that they're uncomfortable with. So no.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, it's great. great. I think people should read it. But if you're just starting sci-fi and fantasy and you're worried about the genre in general, I wouldn't start here.
Well, not to put you on the spot, because I know that you are a fan of sci-fi fantasy in general. Is there any good entry points that maybe or Rita likes this author that could get you started into the world of sci-fi fantasy?
They are not read-alikes, but I was just having this discussion with a friend who's hesitant to try sci-fi fantasy, and I would say the works of Ursula K. Le Guin, Left Hand of Darkness, and wow, I'm completely blanking on the other one.
Is it Tales of Earthsea?
Yeah, yes.
Yep.
Left
Okay.
Hand of Darkness, Tales of Earthsea is the fantasy.
Yep.
Left Hand of Darkness is a sci-fi. And there's one more sci-fi novel that I would recommend that I cannot think of. I'm going to look it up. Oh, The Dispossessed is the one I was trying to think of. So yeah, Ursula K. Le Guin. Good starting point. I find her works approachable. They're pretty hard on the sci-fi tact, but I don't know. They're just a little bit more readable, I think, for a general audience than
Well, thank you. Yeah,
Jemisin.
this is our first time, I think, our first podcast that we've done for a sci-fi fantasy book. So having your expertise has been awesome.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah.
You're very welcome. So we always like to finish it out with this question. Is there anything coming up that you are interested in, excited about, whether it's books, video games, what have you?
I have been, alongside a lot of other Hollow Knight fans, eagerly awaiting Silk Song. It's a Metroidvania video game based on one of the characters that appeared in Hollow Knight by Team Cherry, tiny little independent studio.
Nice.
I bought the first one on Steam, bought it again on Switch just because I liked it so much
Yep.
and I wanted to buy something else from them. I just got 2 little Hollow Knight figurines as a surprise gift.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
it's
I love
fun.
the art style of Hollow Knight. It's
Yeah,
so cute.
It is so cute. And so I'm hyped for Silk Song, although it's been quite a while that we've been waiting for it at this point.
Is that DLC or it's a full new?
It's a full new game.
Oh, that's
They did a
awesome.
Kickstarter for the first game, and they meant it to be DLC, and it outgrew their expectations. So they made
That's
a whole
great.
another game out of it. Yeah. I'm also excited for Breath of the Wild 2. It's supposed to be
Nice.
coming out next year. I don't know. This is a popular opinion, but Breath of the Wild is actually one of my least favorite Zelda games. But I love Zelda still in general, so I'm still excited for Breath of the Wild 2. And then Brandon Sanderson, big fantasy writer. He did this crazy thing at the start of the year where he did a Kickstarter for, was it 4 secret books that he had written without telling anybody?
Nice.
He's just like, so I lied to you. I wrote this book in my spare time, my free time, extra time that I had because of the pandemic. And then he like pulls out 3 more and he's like, I also wrote these 3 books.
Nice.
It's just ridiculous.
That's really cool. Is there a release date for those yet?
You know, I don't remember. I did the Kickstarter and I'm just like, it'll come out when it comes
Just
out.
patiently waiting.
Just patiently. I don't
love,
think the titles are even introduced.
Okay.
So
Nice.
I love that authors, and not just authors, artists in general, have that avenue nowadays where they can find their crowd, the people that love their stuff, and they can be directly supported by those people. I think that's really cool. So
Yeah.
that's a neat little surprise. I had no clue that he did that.
Yeah.
yeah, it was one of the most funded Kickstarters in history, if not the most funded.
I believe
That
it.
was
Good for him. He is a great writer, so
Yeah. Well, yeah.
he's a good writer. I read the Mistborn. Yep, and I appreciated what he did for that. It was good.
Good. Yeah, that's a good starting place if you're looking to read Brandon Sanderson.
Hey, there
Start
you
with
go.
Mistborn.
We got another good starter.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Charles. Awesome interview, and we really appreciate, once again, your expertise.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you too.
Thank you.
And do you want to stick around while we do the 1-star versus 5-star reviews from around the interwebs from other readers?
Yes, I have not read reviews, so I'm interested to hear them.
Yeah.
Honestly, especially the 1-stars, because I liked it so much. I'm like, how could you?
Yes.
How could you?
This is always kind of eye-opening. It gives you really good perspective on both extremes.
We're going to pop right into that in a bit.
So I'm going to get started with a 5-star review. This one is a Goodreads review from the user Bibby. Bibby gave it a 5 stars, and it's titled So Clever. I've been on a reading binge of mostly sci-fi/fantasy fusion, and let me tell you, this book will rock your world. Hats off to Miss Jemisin. In all honesty, I can't fathom how the idea and execution for the series could have originated from someone's brain. A must-read for lovers of sci-fi fantasy.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a pretty great review.
Yeah.
Emphatic.
Yes.
Glowing.
Yes, glowing.
Yes, I have the opposite side of the spectrum as usual, so I have our 1-star reviews. We're going to start it off with Joe from Amazon. It is titled Waste of Money and Time. Absolute fertilizer. If this is great literature for today, I think the old adage about the emperor's new clothes might be an apt analogy. What on earth would make people pretend that this is somehow meaningful literature? My experience is the only one that's valid.
I was going to say, I appreciate opinions, but saying people are pretending they don't enjoy something is a little reaching. Yeah.
Right. It's like, I don't pretend to like the color green. I just do. Like, it's the same sort of thing.
So my next 5-star review is from Catherine on Amazon. Catherine titled this one, Delightfully Mind-Bending, another 5-star review here. She says, this book is phenomenal. There's no other word for it. I can best liken the experience of reading this book to looking through a gradually defrosting window. The whole thing comes together so slowly, and at first you only get the vaguest sense of what's going on. All the different storylines, the rules of the world, the different characters, and it's almost frustrating at times because there's this sense of almost knowing, and it is so satisfying and mind-bending when it all starts to come together. Truly amazing world building, incredible writing, and so many layers behind this story. I can't recommend it enough. As a heads up, the POV and narration shifts with some frequency, which was initially a little jarring, but it does genuinely have a purpose, and is helpful to pay attention to when it happens, and what information you're being given when it happens. So I guess that speaks to what we talked about earlier with the shifting perspective, and this is a first-hand experience saying that, you know, if you stick with it, it does pay off.
Nice.
It does, yes. It's an important part of the novel, honestly.
And I do like their analogy there with like the defrosting window, because there's something to be said about the power of like a sudden and dramatic reveal, but there's also a lot of power in like the slow lifting of the curtain where you then see the whole thing and you're like, oh, that's how that all came together.
I've like read books before where you can tell the author had a really cool idea and it's them trying to lay the pieces to get to the idea, but they're more excited about the idea than the journey to it. And I think it's really cool that this one touches on the fact that it is satisfying throughout the culmination.
Nice. My next 1-star review is from P. O'Brien on Amazon. It's just simply labeled nonsense. I bought this book after looking for a good sci-fi title. This is not sci-fi. It's fantasy. It's time people classifying books understood the difference. Sci-fi scenarios stand by the scientific laws or plausible extrapolations from them. This book has special people who can stop earthquakes using their special mental powers. If you like that sort of thing, fine. To me, it's nonsense and a waste of money and time. To an extent, I get that. There is pretty distinctive, if you're talking like I'm looking for sci-fi, if you send them to, you know, there's a knight and a dragon, they're going to be like, this is not sci-fi, I was looking for aliens and laser guns. There is a distinction to be made between the two. But largely, at least to me, the point of both is that whole like you're escaping to a different world that does not operate the way that yours does.
Well, they put it under the speculative fiction umbrella together for a reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I was going to say, it sounds like this person was like misled. Like they were told it's a science fiction or something.
Yeah.
My last 5-star review is from Kylie. Kylie says, show-stopping, incredible, and phenomenal. The 5th season is absolutely incredible. It really is the whole package. Excellent world building and magic. Highly compelling plot, dynamic and complex characters, and an active and engaging pace. I genuinely cannot think of a single issue that I have with the series. I binged the whole series in about a week, and my energy and love for this book has not faded months later. There are so many positive things I could say about this book, but one that truly stood out was that this is probably the first time I have seen pregnancy and motherhood central to a character without dipping into the biological essentialism or heterosexism. Few, even feminist, works manage to include motherhood without diminishing their mother characters, but Essen defies cliché at every turn. In every aspect of this novel, similar feats are achieved. The world and characters are so vibrant, complex, and varied, though not confusing. It feels very real. Even with magic and apocalypse, the stakes and tensions feel very real and present. N.K. Jemisin possesses a very rare and impressive talent, and I look forward to reading more of her work soon. I appreciate that viewpoints and the things that this reviewer touched on. It's a unique perspective, and I like how they got something out of this book that it seems to be sorely lacking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm glad she brought that up because we didn't really even get to that part of our discussion of it. But it is definitely well handled.
Awesome.
So I'm ending us on a low note with my last 1-star review. It's a kind of long one, so bear with me. It is from Robert E. Martinez from Amazon, titled Slow and Dull, Characters You'll Hate. Reading the 1- and 2-star reviews here convinced me I wasn't crazy. I got about 20% of the way through the book thinking, how could this have won a Hugo? The writing was dense and impenetrable. The characters were all actively annoying. The author takes a perverse pleasure in making the plot hard to understand. In short, this book is a waste of time. I'll mention 2 things that were unusually annoying. The protagonist, and I'll use the term loosely, is one of the most unlikable I've ever come across in reading fiction. He sits in the middle of the plot like a garbage truck creeping down a city street. The truck moves excruciatingly slowly, and I imagined dozens of cars beeping behind wanting to move faster. Did I mention personality? In a word, always angry about something. Rages and huffs and puffs. Never happy. I'll let you know that never is in all caps. This gets tedious fast. The second very weird thing. In the whole novel, there are no appealing male characters. Not one. In fact, there are virtually no male characters at all. You can't count the buffoonish pirate king who appears occasionally in the last 100 pages of the novel. He's a caricature of the type. Big and loud, he goes around yelling at people. I'm surprised Jemisin didn't give him a parrot on his shoulder and have him yelling "Arg." I could speculate as to why Jemisin didn't bother including a single appealing male character, but that would be a further waste of time, adding to the hours I spent wading through this dreck. I will never read another Jemisin book. There you go. It does touch on one point, though, that is particularly near and dear and irritating to my heart. Protagonist does not mean good and likable, pure human being, character, whatever. It just means the person who you are following through the story. There are so many times that I see people being like, oh, well, that's so weird that the main character is an antagonist. It's like, they're not. If they're the main character, they're the protagonist. It doesn't matter that you disagree with what they're fighting for or trying to achieve. You're following their story. They are the protagonist.
I mean, you're always the hero of your own story.
Exactly.
Yep.
And it's same like, look at Loki from Marvel. In the Avengers movies and things like that, he is the antagonist. He is working against the titular Avengers, trying to get in their way, trying to ruin things for them, trying to achieve his own goals, which are opposite to what the Avengers want to do. But then he has his own series on Disney Plus, aptly named Loki. He's still the same character. Like, he's still the same Loki that was terrorizing New York and being a problem in the movies and was an antagonist there. But in his own series, where we are following him and his story, he is the protagonist. So I'm going to step off that soapbox now. But, it rages me every time.
Speaking of other things that Robert got wrong, I think it's so funny that he talks about the pirate characters being a caricature of pirate when he's like the most loving male figure in the books and ends up in like this polyamorous relationship with a male and a female person. He's like so far from stereotypes
Yeah, the
that we're
caricature,
accustomed to.
Yeah.
I will say, I do appreciate something Robert did. And I appreciate it in the same way I appreciated one of our other reviews that talked about defrosting, in that they both paint a very poetic picture.
Yes.
So I do appreciate Robert's use of the garbage truck sitting in the street, just backing everything up for everyone else.
Which I can
We've all
slow.
been a garbage truck of a person, so
Yeah.
it really paints a picture.
Stay tuned to hear Charles read the first chapter of the 5th season.
Let's start with the end of the world, why don't we? Get it over with and move on to more interesting things. First, a personal ending. There is a thing she will think over and over in the days to come as she imagines how her son died and tries to make sense of something so innately senseless. She will cover Uche's broken little body with a blanket, except his face, because he's afraid of the dark, and she will sit beside it numb, and she will pay no attention to the world that is ending outside. The world has already ended within her, and neither ending is for the first time. She's old hat at this by now. What she thinks then and thereafter is, but he was free. And it is her bitter, weary self that answers this almost question every time her bewildered, shocked self manages to produce it. He wasn't, not really, but now he will be. But you need context. Let's try the ending again, writ continentally. Here is a land. It is ordinary, as lands go. Mountains and plateaus and canyons and river deltas, the usual. Ordinary, except for its size and its dynamism. It moves a lot, this land. Like an old man lying restlessly abed, it heaves and sighs, puckers and farts, yawns and swallows. Naturally, this land's people have named it the Stillness. It is a land of quiet and bitter irony. The Stillness has had other names. It was once several other lands. It's one vast, unbroken continent at present, but at some point in the future it will be more than one again. Very soon now, actually. The end begins in a city, the oldest, largest, and most magnificent city in the world. The city is called Eumenes, and it once was the heart of an empire. It is still the heart of many things, though the empire has wilted somewhat in the years since its first bloom, as empires do. Eumenes is not unique because of its size. There are many large cities in this part of the world, chain-linked along the equator like a continental girdle. Elsewhere in the world, villages rarely grow into towns, and towns rarely become cities, because all such polities are hard to keep alive when the earth keeps trying to eat them. But Eumenes has been stable for most of its 27 centuries. Eumenes is unique because here alone have human beings dared to build, not for safety, not for comfort, not even for beauty, but for bravery. The city's walls are a masterwork of delicate mosaics and embossing, detailing its people's long and brutal history. The clumping masses of its buildings are punctuated by great high towers like fingers of stone, hand-wrought lanterns powered by the modern marvel of hydroelectricity, delicately arcing bridges woven of glass and audacity, and architectural structures called balconies that are so simple yet so breathtakingly foolish that no one has ever built them before in written history. But much of history is unwritten, remember this. The streets are paved not with the easy-to-replace cobbles, but with smooth, unbroken, and miraculous substance that locals have dubbed asphalt. Even the shanties of Eumenes are daring because they're just thin-walled shacks that would blow over in a bad windstorm, let alone a shake. Yet they stand, as they have stood for generations. At the core of the city are many tall buildings, so it is perhaps unsurprising that one of them is larger and more daring than all the rest combined, a massive structure whose base is a star pyramid of precision-carved obsidian brick. Pyramids are the most stable architectural form, and this one is pyramids times 5, because why not? And because this is Eumenes, a vast geodesic sphere whose faceted walls resemble translucent amber sits at the pyramid's apex, seeming to balance there lightly, though in truth, every part of the structure is channeled toward the sole purpose of supporting it. It looks precarious. That is all that matters. The Black Star is where the leaders of the empire meet to do their leaderish things. The Amber Sphere is where they keep their emperor, carefully preserved and perfect. He wanders its golden halls in genteel despair, doing what he is told and dreading the day his masters decide that his daughter makes a better ornament. None of these places or people matter, by the way. I simply point them out for context. But here is a man who will matter a great deal. You can imagine how he looks for now. You may also imagine what he's thinking. This might be wrong, mere conjecture, but a certain amount of likelihood applies nevertheless. Based on his subsequent actions, there are only a few thoughts that could be in his mind for this moment. He stands on a hill, not far from the Black Star's obsidian walls. From here, he can see most of the city, smell its smoke, get lost in its gabble. There's a group of young women walking along one of the asphalt paths below. The hill is in a park much beloved by the city's residents. Keep green land within the walls, advises Stonelore, but in most communities, the land is fallow planted with legumes and other soil-enriching crops. Only in Eumenes is greenland sculpted into prettiness. The women laugh at something one of them has said, and the sound wafts up to the man on a passing breeze. He closes his eyes and savors the faint tremolo of their voices, the fainter reverberation of their footsteps, like wing beats of butterflies against his Cecipine. He can't assess all 7 million residents of the city, mind you. He's good, but not that good. Most of them, though, yes, they are there, here. He breathes deeply and becomes a fixture of the earth. They tread upon the filaments of his nerves. Their voices stir the fine hairs of his skin. Their breaths ripple the air he draws into his lungs. They are on him. They are in him. But he knows that he is not, and will never be, one of them. Did you know, he says conversationally, that the first Stonelore was actually written in stone, so that it couldn't be changed to suit fashion or politics, so it wouldn't wear away? I know, says his companion. Yes, you were probably there when it was first set down. I forget. He sighs, watching the women walk out of sight. It's safe to love you. You won't fail me. You won't die, and I know the price up front. His companion does not reply. He wasn't really expecting a response, though a part of him hoped. He has been so lonely. But hope is irrelevant, as are so many other feelings that he knows will bring him only despair if he considers them again. He has considered this enough. The time for dithering is past. A commandment, the man says, spreading his arms, is set in stone. Imagine that his face aches from smiling. He's been smiling for hours, teeth clenched, lips drawn back, eyes crinkled so the crow's feet show. There's an art to smiling in a way that others will believe. It is always important to include the eyes, otherwise people will know you hate them. Chiseled words are absolute. He speaks to no one in particular, but beside the man stands a woman, of sorts. Her emulation of human gender is only superficial, a courtesy. Likewise, the loose, drape-like dress that she wears is not cloth. She has simply shaped a portion of her stiff substance to suit the preferences of the fragile, mortal creatures among whom she currently moves. From a distance, the illusion would work to pass her off as a woman standing still, at least for a while. Up close, however, any hypothetical observer would notice that her skin is white porcelain. That is not a metaphor. As a sculpture, she would be beautiful, if too relentlessly realistic for local tastes. Most Jemisin's prefer polite abstraction over vulgar actuality. When she turns to the man, slowly — stone eaters are slow above ground, except when they aren't — this movement pushes her beyond artful beauty into something altogether different. The man has grown used to it, but even so, he does not look at her. He does not want revulsion to spoil the moment. "What will you do?" he asks her. "When it's done, will your kind rise up through the rubble and take the world in our stead?" "No," she says. "Why not?" "Few of us are interested in that. Anyway, you'll still be here." The man understands that she means you in the plural. Your kind. Humanity. She often treats him as though he represents his whole species. He does the same to her. "You sound very certain." She says nothing to this. Stone eaters rarely bother stating the obvious. He's glad, because her speech annoys him in any case. It does not shiver the air the way a human voice would. He doesn't know how that works. He doesn't care how that works, but he wants her silent now. He wants everything silent. "End," he says. "Please." And then he reaches forth with all the fine control that the world has brainwashed and backstabbed and brutalized out of him, and all the sensitivity that his masters have bred into him through generations of rape and coercion and highly unnatural selection. His fingers spread and twitch as he feels several reverberating points on the map of his awareness, his fellow slaves. He cannot free them, not in the practical sense. He's tried before and failed. He can, however, make their suffering serve a cause greater than one city's hubris and one empire's fear. So he reaches deep and takes hold of the humming, tapping, bustling, reverberating, rippling vastness of the city, and the quieter bedrock beneath it, and the roiling churn of heat and pressure beneath that. Then he reaches wide, taking hold of the great, sliding puzzle piece of earth shell on which the continent sits. Lastly, he reaches up for power. He takes all that, the strata and the magma and the people and the power, in his imaginary hands. Everything. He holds it. He is not alone. The earth is with him. Then he breaks it.
Thanks for listening. Feel free to email us at podcast@myjdl.com with any thoughts you have about our reading from today, any materials you think we should touch on in future episodes, or any questions you may have about library materials, events, or services. Any views or opinions expressed by the hosts or their guests are solely their own and do not reflect the opinions of the Jackson District Library as a whole. This podcast is for entertainment and informational purposes only.